Are you stuck at a job that drains the life out of you? Do you feel burnt out, overworked, underpaid, and it seems like there's no end in sight? Well, if this is you, this video is for you because I'm going to tell you the four different things that I did to help me cope with a draining job. Hopefully, this can help someone else out there because I know there's probably a lot of people who are struggling with this. If you're new here, my name's Celeste, also known as Celestial Goddess. I talk about all things mental health, spirituality, law of attraction, motivation, and anything else of that nature. If that speaks to you, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe so you don't miss weekly motivation and growth tools. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying that these are the four things that worked for me. Everyone's different. I know that everyone has things that they can and can't do. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and hopefully this can help you guys because I have had a lot of draining jobs. And let me just start off by saying that I loved and love working in mental health, and I always loved the part of helping people. That is why I stayed in those jobs for so long because it was so rewarding, and ultimately I felt like I was making a difference in someone's life. That's why I stayed. That's why it took me so long to leave certain jobs. And I will say that almost every single job that I had, I didn't leave because of the work, like mental health work, which you would think mental health is draining, yes. But no, it was almost always because of the management, supervisors. It was always because of that. It was always because of how they were running things. They always were running things, wanting us to be faster, wanting us to be faster. And it's hard to be fast when you can't really rush a mental health meeting. You can't really rush things. And so it was becoming increasingly more difficult to kind of get work done. And overall, I felt like there was a lot of pressure put on the employees. And I feel like this is something that happens across the board. I don't necessarily think that this just happens with mental health jobs. I do feel like this is happening everywhere right now because employers want people to work faster so they can get more money and wanting to pay you less, not give you raises, things like that. So, this kind of is a video for everyone and anyone who's struggling with this. These are the four things that have helped me if your job that I used, and hopefully may help you if your job is draining you. So, number one, self care. Self care is huge. I truly think that I wouldn't be able to survive life without self care. So, I'm going to say this in almost all my videos. Self care is number one. I have had a therapist for 8 years now, and she, from the beginning, told me that she is a big advocate for self care. And in the beginning, I kind of really didn't know what she meant, but she kind of drained that into my brain. And I'm glad she did because self care is very, very important. So, what do you mean by self care, you ask? Self care can be anything such as going to the gym 3 times a week, eating healthier every day, or like taking that bath if you like to take baths. It could be meditating, it could be praying, it could be literally just doom scrolling for 30 minutes and having that time uninterrupted. Self care can be so many different things. Even though doom scrolling is something that I wouldn't necessarily recommend like to do all the time because it's not really like nourishing yourself unless you watch things that are good for your mental health and positive things, then of course. But I know that social media can also be filled with news and filled with negativity. But self care can literally be anything, and you get to define self care and what that means for you. So, if that means that you put an alarm and from this time to this time you do this every single day, then that's what you have to do. And that also means putting those boundaries on friendships, putting those boundaries on work, putting those boundaries on whatever it may be. Because self care is very important. You have to take care of yourself. If you don't look out for yourself and you don't take care of yourself, no one will. Your job will take until there's nothing else left for them to take from you. So have those boundaries in terms of your self care, either when you get home, before work, whatever it is. Okay. That's number one. Number two, be open and honest with your job. Now, this is also like a little caveat because I know there's a lot of toxic work environments. Trust me, I've been there. And sometimes being open and honest in your job means that you put a hit on your back is I don't know how else to explain it. Like they start seeing you as problematic and then they start targeting you. And of course, there's laws and regulations for this not to happen, but it happens and it's very hard to prove that it's happening unless you're documenting it in a journal every day or you get it on camera or video or something. Like it's really difficult. And I know that not everyone wants to make those waves in work. Like they just want to work, go home. So I know that not everyone can do this, but this is something that I learned in the past 2 years that really helped with me. If you can, if you have a good relationship, even with a coworker or a supervisor, whatever it is, or even if you can vent at home, be open and honest. About what's going on and like let it out. And sometimes when I would tell my supervisor, like, hey, like, I don't like this, I can't do this, or like, I really don't like this, or I feel like I've been noticing this, I feel like I'm being targeted, or da 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 da, he would validate me because he would be like, you know what, you're right. Like, I see where you're coming from. Or sometimes he would even explain to me like why things were being done the way they're being done. And it would kind of give me a better understanding of like, okay, like there's nothing I can do about this, like blah 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 blah. So yes, if you can though, I do not want anyone to make their lives more difficult for themselves. So if you know you can't do that, then don't do it. Number three, um, bring your power back. This is something I learned way later in the workforce. I always thought that I was at the mercy of my supervisors, my managers, everything like that, and I literally just like had to do whatever they said, and it can feel hopeless and defeating. So once I started learning that like I do have a voice, I can stand up for myself, or I can take those mental health days, or I can take those 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon for my breaks. Um, it really helped me to take my power back because yes, we are at some point at the mercy of our employers, but at the same time there are laws protected where we have to take our breaks. And I know that not every state has these, but at least in California, we have to take breaks, we have to take lunch breaks. Also just like being able to say um hey, like I need 5 minutes right now because especially in mental health, we saw a lot of things or we were dealt with a lot of things that could be triggering. So if I needed 5 minutes, I would tell my supervisors, "Okay, I need 5 minutes." But like I said, I did learn it later. So in the beginning, I didn't really take that time. But later on, I learned like I need to take this 5 minutes for myself to kind of breathe and ground myself because it can be difficult to continue on. And this can be like if you get into an altercation with a coworker or something, you could tell your boss, like, hey, I just need 5 minutes to decompress from that. Like something like that. If you don't ask for it, then they'll never know that you need it. What is it called? Closed mouths don't get fed, something like that. I don't know. I always want to say these sayings on here and I really don't. I don't remember what they are. I need to start like writing them down or something. But you have the power and you have the control. And this is something that I try not to really like say too much on here because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of people that say, oh, I have to work here. I can't change jobs. There's nothing I can do, blah, blah, blah. But I am such a huge advocate for not having a victim mindset. And a victim mindset is basically saying, like, everything's happening to me and there's nothing I can do about it. And boo hoo, poor me, I'm going to go cry in a corner. We all have the power to control something. And maybe the cards that you have been dealt, like, you really can't do much, but there's still something you can do. Like, even the self care, going back to self care, you can probably take 30 minutes out of your day to maybe just like take a bath or something like that. It's something can be so small, but me hearing someone say like there's nothing I can do, this is just my life. I can't because we all have control. Like we are the controller of our lives. And I've said this before on my channel and I'll say it again. There are systems in place to keep us down, especially if you're a minority, especially if you were, raised in lower middle class, even lower class. Like there are systems in place for people to be put down, right? But at the same time, you hear about all these stories of people who overcame. I just feel like there are so many examples of people who have changed their life or have got out of that job or whatever it may be, started that business or saved up for this or that. If there's a will, there's a way. But like I've said in my other videos, if you truly believe that there's nothing you can do for yourself and that everything's happening to you and you have no control, your reality is only going to show you that. It's going to continue to show you that life sucks, life's happening to you, you can never catch a break, blah, 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 blah. Like that is the wiring in your brain that is showing you that in your reality. You can watch my Power of Your Subconscious Mind video if you would like to try to rewire your subconscious mind, because I feel like that's where it all stems from, but we won't get into that. So you have the power. Bring your power back to yourself. Remind yourself you have the power. That's number 3. Number 4, reminding yourself that your life comes first. You are number 1. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of people have problems with, because I had the problem with that too. Like it was hard for me to feel worthy enough to think that like I come first. But when it started becoming dangerous at my job, not my last job, but the job before that, when I was in crisis, working crisis in San Diego, I quit that job because I was fearful for my life at that job. And I knew that my employers did not think that my fear was warranted. And I knew that I had to just continue doing my job, but that eventually I may be put in another dangerous situation, because I was put in a very dangerous situation where I could have lost my life. And they basically just gave me a training and said, do you need to be trained more? So, I just realized that no one's going to have my back but me. They're going to put me in those situations because they want their money, but I can't. Like my life is not worth it. To them it may be, but to me it's not. And so realizing that your life comes first. So if you have to take the mental health day, take it. And mental health counts as health. So it could be a sick day. Take your breaks. Like I used to be like, oh, I'm going to work through my breaks. No, not anymore. I take my breaks. Your life comes first, and that's number 1. So don't forget that, because time and time again, I've seen that you're replaceable. These employers do not care. Like I've seen people that have worked at companies for 30 plus years and they fired them. I've seen people work at school districts for 30 plus years and they didn't want to give them a raise because they just didn't want to. Time and time again, no matter how much you think you've put into that company, no matter how much you think they value you, they will show you that they don't, and they will show you that it's all about money and you're just a number. And I know that sounds horrible, because like everyone wants to say maybe you are the one person who your company really does value you. I hope that there are more companies and employers being built that like they do value their employees. Like that's really truly what I advocate for and what I want, because studies have shown employees work better when companies value them and when they show that and when they pay them correctly and things like that. So you may be in a job where they do value you, and that's really amazing. But I do truly feel like for the majority, it's not that way. So you have to look out for yourself always, because they will always look out for themselves. Those are the 4 things that really helped me just kind of get through my job better, and know that you can be drained, you can be burned out, but at the same time, you have that power and you have control over your own life. Like you truly have control over your own life. So I hope that this empowers you to know that you're worthy and you deserve the best, and that you have a voice. I'm living proof that you can go for your dreams and you can make it and you can do it. I want to empower you all to just like know that there is hope. That's the one thing I want you to take away from this, is there is hope. There's always hope for a brighter, better future. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll put all my links for my email list, my Linktree if you want to buy my Coping Skills Made Simple ebook for $9.99. Also, if you'd like to book a consultation appointment with me for emotional wellness coaching, you can. I'm also doing a special where you can just do pay per session emotional wellness sessions, just because of the state that the world is in right now. I feel like we need it. They're discounted prices and they're, like I said, pay per session. You can also find that link at the Practice Better link below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.